Hello and welcome to today's video as we cover Worlds 2024 Swiss Stage Day 3. Yeah, Day 3. Dplus LNG, Gen.G, HLE went 2-0 in predictions as far as winners are concerned, and then we'll preview the 4 games to take place tomorrow between the 1-1 teams. So, similar to yesterday, we're going to go over a little bit more of a stats look at this, the way teams the way the games and series went in terms of control, gold and objective leads, utilizing some gold valuations for Drakes that I found online that, I haven't found anything more recent, so I'm utilizing to try and just figure out, which team is in control of the game. In my opinion, if you have the lead, when you combine objectives and gold, you are in control. Now, the amount of control and the stranglehold of that control is up for interpretation. You could say, hey, they're barely in control versus they have this locked. But either way, the other team does not have control because they are behind. You can say, oh, well, they're scaling and the other team is ahead and they're going to try and end the game in some way, shape, or form. I know a couple people didn't like that I said HLE were in control against G2 because HLE threw in the late game that allowed G2 to have a gold lead and a lead in objectives for like 5 minutes out of a 45-minute game, and that made people think that it was a game where HLE and G2 are much closer when you could look at Team Liquid and Weibo, a game that went 55-45 in terms of control, and I'd consider that game to be much closer because both teams had quite a advantage. They had a large portion of the game in their hands. So, and also we look at the end of the Weibo Team Liquid game, I think it was more competitive than the G2 HLE game. So I think that in and of itself eliminates the notion that G2 and HLE were the closest game of the day, unless you were a G2 fan, in which case I wasted my time. Now, recap Dplus LNG. LNG were in control for about 83% of the minutes played, 83%, 82%. Some way, shape, or form, ahead in gold plus objectives combined. Dplus struggling. LNG playing a Wombo combo comp in game 2, but more importantly, Dplus for some odd-ass reason gave Gala Kaisa both games. And that is a very tragic miscue by Zepha. That is a terrible, terrible decision because Gala is the best Kaisa in the world. So 13, 2, and 15, 32% of damage in the win. Scout playing Silas Galio going 11, 2, and 20. Aiming 7, 5, 12, 33% of damage in the loss, playing Ziggs both games. Now, draft being a problem. Not only that, we saw the Silas come through. Silas is going to be a massive pick at this event because Maokai seems to be a thing. And like I've said the last couple years, and I'll say it again, and I said it yesterday, Silas is a great counter to Maokai. Silas fits this meta, and it's just going to eliminate that champion altogether. And it's going to allow in the end, HLE are going to have a nice trip to quarters, top esports as well, and a couple others where you have players that are very good at Silas having an opportunity to showcase their ability if you want to pick a Maokai into them. Maokai is crazy value, don't get me wrong. That ulti, like when you get to this level of competition with the macro and objectives and things of that nature, trying to get control and get that little advantage in a team fight, Maokai is just huge because of that ulti, and it's in the saplings as well. Just for vision, etc. So, yeah, Dplus got blown out. 80% of the game they were behind. But that's kind of the way of the day, if you will. Gen.G HLE end up being 80-20 in favor of Gen.G, despite Gen.G losing game 1. So Gen.G actually were in control for about 57% of the game. But HLE did have a lead for 43%, including the end. They were able to find a way to win game 1. Game 2, extremely slow. Both teams taking their time. I don't believe first blood happened until after 12 minutes. Game 3, also not a barn burner. Both teams really just taking their time. A classic LCK matchup. I am happy to see Gen.G win in that I did believe Gen.G deserved an opportunity at a grand final bracket reset, or however you want to word it, in their double elim except one format in the LCK. So this was kind of that, and Gen.G winning vilified that, and validated that Gen.G should have been the LCK champion if the format was better. So in the end, they are not the champion. I'm not saying they, are, because technically they aren't, but in my heart, they are now. Had a discussion on the Discord about Pays today as well. That Pays is not that guy. I believe Pays is that guy. I've been saying it for a long time now. One of the youngest players in the esport and dominant at a level that we have not seen players at his age. And you could argue, is he mature? Is he not? He's 18 years old. He's 18 years old. And, we were arguing between him and Guma. And it's like Guma at 18 years old was losing LCK regional finals. And Pays is getting it done. Now, you could say Pays' teams are better than his at the time. And I'm not going to disagree with that. But I also believe that Pays is going to go down as, I think I've said this before, I think he'll be the best AD carry of all time when his career is over. I do believe that. So, enough about Pays because he's not listed here. Chovy, 12, 2, and 22 across 3 games, 30% of damage. Ari in all 3 games. How about that? Keen, 11, 5, 21, and Aurora all 3 games. Viper, 14, 7, 9, 32% of damage in the loss. Kaisa, Jin, and Varus. So, interestingly enough, HLE decided we are going to alter that bot lane matchup that we're facing as much as we can, give Viper an opportunity. And I think there's something to be said for that. I think that giving Viper an opportunity is a good idea. However, allowing the top side of the rift to continue to be Aurora, Nocturne in the end, with Canyon playing Nocturne all 3 games. And then Ari, Chovy's, arguably one of Chovy's best champions, was a risky maneuver. And they won game 1, but more so because Gen.G threw a lead than HLE winning it. And then the last 2 games, Gen.G were in control. All but 1 minute of game 2, Gen.G had the lead in gold and objectives combined. And then 82% of the minutes in game 3. They were in control of this series, even in the loss. So the adjustments were just not there for HLE, and one has to wonder if that's the inexperience of the coaching staff at this level. Don't get me wrong, I believe Dandy is a world champion as a player, but not as a coach. I don't believe he had any coaching experience, at least accredited on Leaguepedia, at an international event before this one. So there is going to be a possibility that, hey, there may be issues here. And a guy like Coach Kim, who has won before, has won with teams that you could argue many didn't think were going to win in IG. So that's a thing. Another thought I had about the Nocturne is when we see Gam versus MDK, are we going to see Levi Nocturne end up taking Gam and going to the next round? I think, hey, if Nocturne is OP, then better watch out because he is the best Nocturne at this tournament. That would be crazy. Crazy for sure. Another thing about Pays as well, when we're thinking about this series. Twitch in Game 3, a very interesting pick. Haven't seen a Twitch in a long time. And he did fine on it. He did his job at a high level, and I do believe, in those late game team fights, he was a difference maker, alongside Keen, of course, on the Aurora. And, everybody on Gen.G in Games 2 and 3 were very clean. No matter how big the gold lead is, they are ahead. And that was the case. Preview for tomorrow, Top Esports Fnatic. Top Esports won at MSI 2024, 2-1. Jackie Love 17, 6, 13, 32% of damage. Noah 6, 6, and 16, 20% of damage in the loss. BLG T1, BLG would win 3-2 at MSI 2024. Knight led in damage, going 20, 13, and 46 with 32% of damage. Faker 14, 19, and 22 with 23% in the loss. So a big diffy there, and hopefully for T1's sake, they do not have that happen again tomorrow. MSI 2024, PSG knocked out Fly. Of course, that's a matchup that'll be forever remembered as the LCS not getting out of play-ins. PSG winning. Aja, 6'5", 18, 24% of damage in top lane. Bwipo, 4, 10, and 5, 25% of damage in the loss, and did not lead his team in damage, which goes to show you that PSG had a pretty even spread of damage between their 3 carry roles of top, mid, and AD carry, where in the case of FlyQuest, it wasn't quite as evenly spread. Weibo G2, they played at Worlds 2023. G2 would win that one. Mid and bot are the same for both sides. Hansama went 9, 6, and 10, 37% of damage in that victory. Light, 4, 4, and 7, 26% of damage in the loss. Of these 4 matchups, of course, BLGT1 is going to be an interesting one for sure. That's the one that's catching my attention, followed by probably Fly PSG, this one, and then Top Esports Fnatic definitely is the most lopsided. So it's best of one, so anything can happen tomorrow. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.